Hi, this is Debbie, and today I'm sharing a video I created for my Doodling with Debbie series for SSS Stamp. It's that time of year where the to-do list can seem unending. I can't believe I am so far behind this year with not a single card written yet, and I still need to make more cards too. When time gets tight like this, my productivity ramps up by batch creating Christmas cards. So today I'm going to create 5 cards with the same basic design using the ornate alphabet dies from SSS Stamp. These dies are designed to coordinate with the ornate alphabet stamp set, but I'm not using that today. I kept the letters together and placed the whole alphabet die on my die cutting sandwich with Schoolhouse Red Card. I ran the die through my die cutting machine 3 or 4 times, and from the die cut letters I was able to put together several holiday themed words. I put the words to one side while I continued die cutting, and I think that is the benefit of batch creating, to cut down on the time it takes to create the finished card. If you do all the same things at the same time, you spend less time switching backwards and forwards between things. So while I had my die cutting machine going, I also cut several snowflakes from Bazzill MARSHMALLOW card using the Grace, Leah and Marie snowflake dies. I cut enough snowflakes to have 2 or 3 die cuts for each of my 5 cards. I use the Tim Holtz craft pick all the time. It's a great little tool and makes pushing out the negative pieces on intricate designs a doddle. Moving on, and the next process I batched was creating a soft subtle background for the die cut words and snowflakes using the extra large dot stencil and 5 pieces of fog card cut to 4.25 by 5.5 inches. I will cut these pieces down slightly at the end and mount them onto card bases. But for now, the slightly larger size allows for keeping the card in place with a piece of washi tape. I can then cut this area off later. I used a Picket life-changing blending brush and white pigment ink and gently blended the ink through all the dots in the stencil. I repeated the stencil design on all 5 pieces of card and then squeezed a small amount of white gouache onto my craft mat and mixed with a little water to get a consistency suitable for splattering. I used a paintbrush to splatter and tried to concentrate the splatters in the lower right corner of the panels of card where I planned to add the die cut words. I then gathered my die cut words together and added foam adhesive to the back of all the words. From a few passes of the ornate alphabet dies through the die cutting machine, I'd made out the phrases peace, joy, merry, Noel and happy, and you could make many other options too. The letters are a good size for making an impact, and yet you can fit 5 or so letters comfortably on a landscape-oriented card, so to spare out the longer options such as peace and merry. I planned out the designs for each phrase option, working out where to place snowflakes and letters, and then set everything to one side while I worked on adding coordinating sentiments to each card. I used the Holiday Greetings Mix 1 set and pulled out any of the smaller skinny sentiments which would work with the words I was using. I laid these on a piece of black card in the mini MISTI and also drew on some options from the Clean Line Christmas set. I treated the card with an anti-static powder bag and then stamped all the greetings in one go with clear embossing ink before sprinkling with white embossing powder. I used a dry paintbrush to tidy up any stray spots of embossing powder and then heat set. I used a scalpel and metal edge ruler to trim out the sentiments and paired them with the cards. I foam mounted the stenciled fog panels onto card bases cut from Bazzill MARSHMALLOW card. Again, I'm batching each process, so I added foam adhesive to all the card fronts before adding them to the card bases. Now it was just a case of adding the die cuts to the card fronts. For this, I needed to use a T-square ruler. For me, a ruler such as this is essential. I don't seem to be able to see a straight line, and even with the help of the ruler, I'm sometimes not perfect, but accept that these are handmade cards and each one is unique, even if that means slightly wonky. On the larger snowflakes, I placed a piece of foam adhesive in the centre to adhere them to the card, and with the smaller snowflakes where this wasn't an option, I used Gina Connect glue. I arranged 2 or 3 snowflakes around the letters and then used the T-square ruler to help me align the words on straight. Once I had the main phrase in place, I then added the coordinating greeting on the black skinny strips overlapping the large letters. I again used foam adhesive for this and tried to place the extra greetings either centred or off to the right, depending on where I felt they sat best. However, a couple of the cards I felt the greeting was better placed off the letters, especially this Wishing You a Merry Christmas card where I split the coordinating elements above and below the main word on 2 black skinny strips. So as I finish off this 5th card, I am loving the red letters popping off the stencil background. The white polka dots with the white gouache splatter reminds me of snowballs. To complete the cards, I added a few ice crystal sequins from Little Things from Lucy's Cards, which I held in place with Gina K Connect glue. And so here's a final look at the finished cards. Happy Christmas, Noel with the added season's greetings, joy and love to you, wishing you a Merry Christmas, and finally, peace to you this season. Deciding on a simple design and then batching the various processes in order to make the cards is a great way to save time and create multiple cards at one time. Now I just need to get myself in gear and get to writing these cards. I'll leave links in the YouTube description below to the products that I've used today, as well as a link to the coordinating blog post over at limedoodledesign.com. I want to thank you for joining me today, and if you've enjoyed this tutorial, I'd be delighted if you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. Also, if you'd like to get notified when a new video is out, don't forget to hit the bell button next to the subscribe button too. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.